All right, everybody. Finally, I'm gonna do a video of all the books I read this year. I'm sorry it's taken so long. I was trying to do one every month, so each month I'd cover all the books I read that month. So I'm gonna have probably some of these I don't remember very well because I read them back in January, February, what have you. So here's everything as of May, beginning of May. So everything from January, February, March, and April that I've read so far. And I'll show you the books that I'm in the middle of right now. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to grab them. I don't remember all the, like, which month was what. I've been very slack about keeping track of these, unfortunately, all other than just putting them in the shelf over here where I keep all the books I read. So here's the first shelf there. Okay, so let's see. Oh, good one to start with. Kristopher Triana, Ex-Boogeyman. Probably one of my favorite ones I've read this year already. This one is a signed copy. This one's really cool. It is, let's see if I can, if it gives a synopsis. Yeah, here we go. So he's not Freddy, he's not Jason, he's all washed up. As Nicky Hector, the unstoppable slasher from the lunatic horror movie franchise, Jonathan Zane reached levels of fame once unimaginable to a young actor. On top of headlining 15 films, he appeared on MTV, MTV's music television. If you're younger, that's where they had music videos and they would play them, and then it became a reality TV show apparently, or I don't know. I don't even know if it's still on TV. Anyways, he appeared on MTV, had his own 976 number. So 900 numbers or 800 numbers or whatever it was. I think there were 900 numbers only. Were numbers you could call and have like, usually there was like some fantasy or something you could play out over the phone with somebody else. And so it was kind of a weird thing back when you had to dial numbers on the phone. Anyways, so he had his own 976 number and became one of the most recognizable faces of the 1980s. Yeah, this was back then. But that was 30 years ago. Now it's 2010, and Zane is a has-been celebrity making his living signing autographs at fair conventions, a relic of the bygone slasher movie boom. He's broke, separated from his wife and children, and lives in a crummy apartment and hasn't landed a role in years. When he learns the studio is remaking Lunatic, he thinks it's his chance for a comeback. But Red Max Studios isn't interested in resurrecting Zane's fame. They want the reboot to have a new face, to escape the campiness that plagued the latter films in the Lunatic series. For the studio, this is a brand new start. For Jonathan Zane, it's the last straw. Discovering the remake is being filmed at the same rafting center as the original, and his former Final Girl co-star Lola Lang is involved, Zane begins a descent into insanity. He slips into his old costume, sharpens his meat cleaver, and brings the Nicky Hector character back from the dead for one last bloodbath. This one was super good. I really loved it, especially since I'm a nerd for old campy horror movies, especially 80s slashers and things like that. This was right up my alley. Super enjoyable. It is extreme, but not extreme. It is what's below extreme? What can we classify that as? It's graphic. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know. It's not maxed out extreme. It's mild extreme. I'm sure there's words for those that I don't know or can't think of right now. Whatever. You can let me know. All right. I also read Thomas Disch's Ring Time. And this one is also signed. One of my favorite authors of all time here. This is signed by Thomas Disch. And this one's kind of neat. Let's see if it says stuff on the back here. Ring Time. In a future featuring rings that can record and play back a totally lived experience, black markets spring up hustling rings with recorded chimes. Museums, galleries, and reviewers cater to finally produce rings. And in this setting, Disch's impeccably written, hilarious tale of jaded appetites unfolds. So the idea is that you can get rings that have memories stored on them or events stored on them, and you can play them back and live them as if they're reality. It's a pretty cool idea. So that was a fun one. It's very short. I've never seen this kind of format for a book before. I don't know, it's only 40 pages, so pretty short little short story read, whatever. But it was really enjoyable. The Hatching by Ezekiel Boone. This is a fun one where it's sort of like Arachnophobia. If you ever saw that movie back in the day with John Goodman, super good movie. Probably one of the first like movies that creeped me out, like really creeped me out. And I remember I actually went to the theater and saw it. And I remember sitting in like the first or second row, and I was like, you know, like looking way back to try and see the screen. And there was that one scene where all the spiders like break out of the eggs and climb across the ceiling and then like drop down. And it was just like, it was like I was right there and they were falling right on my face. It was a trip, but it was cool. So this one is cool. It's like an outbreak of spiders. It's fun. There's also 2 more in the series that I have. They're right here actually on my list to read what's coming up next. So Skitter is one of the next ones, and then I think it's the next one, and then 0 Day is the one after that. So I'll probably read these sometime this year because they were fun to read, but they're not, it's kind of a no-brainer read, just enjoyable, fun. You know, it doesn't take a lot of thought to go through them. Greg Bear, I read War Dogs. I wanted to read this one for a while. It is okay. I didn't love it. It's like these guys who travel, military guys who travel to Mars, they need to survive, and the majority of the book's talking about like their suits and stuff like that, and it reminded me of like Gears of War, where they have the big heavy armor on and it does everything for them. And then they find these people there, and they need to survive some things that are going on, and it was just okay. I didn't love it. It's not one that I'd probably pick up or read again. I really like this one. This was super good, and I'm so excited for the movie. So, The Watchers, A.M. Shrine. I thought this was great, unique, original, enjoyable read. Simple, but really good. And so I'm very excited to see the movie. And it has, what's the girl's name? I can't remember the girl's name that's in it, but when I was reading this, I was picturing Saoirse. I can't remember her last name, but she's like an Irish actress, and that's who I was like picturing as the lead, you know, in my mind of the character. I forget who's going to be playing it, but it looks super good, and it looked pretty accurate. So I can't wait to watch that movie too, because that was a fun read. If you haven't read that one, it's really good. This Wretched Valley, I got this as an advanced reading copy before it was released. I got this back in December. I think it was released. This book came out January, like mid-January. And I got it, and I was excited to read it, and it just wasn't good. So it was okay, but it was not great. I think the author's like a rock climber, and so she wrote about horror rock climbing, sort of. And it's like a ghost story too, so it was just I didn't love it. Ghost stories, just like actual ghost stories, just aren't my thing, I guess, because they don't interest me that much. This one I really enjoyed, Rich Restucci, Run, and I know there's a couple more in the series that I have, Run 2 and Run 3. I don't know if there's more after that. I think it's only those 2. Zombie Outbreak, fun. It is takes place in San Francisco, which is cool. I love settings that I'm familiar with, so it was neat. It was a good, enjoyable zombie book, and it had some twists to it that were different than some of the typical zombie books and things like that you would read. So it made it really, really good. It's cheesy in a lot of parts, but it's good. So simple. That's me. Simple. All right, Mike Duke, Crawl. I can't remember which Mike Duke book I read. Amalgam, that I really, really, really liked. Didn't I read that this year? Did I read it last year? I read it this year. Where is it? I don't see it. Anyways, oh, here it is. Sorry. Mike Duke's Amalgam. I love this one. So good. Like, not even a quarter way into it, I ordered the other 2 books in the series because I wanted to read it. This is one of those ones that I had, like, I said independently printed, but they're actually like, this one's Space Yeti printing. And then I forget the other one. The other independent published one, Severed Press, I think it is. So to me, it just looked like a, you know, independent printing kind of thing, but apparently they're pretty well known, and they're actually really, really good. So I ordered the other 2. But anyways, I read Crawl also. Mike Duke. This is two travelers out in the woods, and there's like a landslide, I think, something like that, and they get trapped underground, and it's like a kind of a horror about being trapped under like a landslide in this kind of cavernous system, and it's pretty good. It's creepy. Like, I wouldn't, you know, if you're claustrophobic, you're probably not gonna like it. Amalgam is awesome. It's a space vessel that finds a unique ship, and they go inside and they find this egg type thing, and then things happen when the creature comes out of the egg, and it's a fun ride. So definitely recommend Mike Duke. Mr. Mercedes, my wife and I read this one, and finally got to read it. I've been wanting to for a while. Super good. And it's Stephen King, of course. So this one's Detective Bill Hodges, mystery kind of solving a case kind of book. And I haven't watched all the show. I remember watching part of the show before, so I was familiar with some things that were going on because I saw the show. But I never finished it, so I didn't know how it was going to turn out and things like that. And there's 2 more after this, Bill Hodges trilogy, and then there's also the Holly Gibney series after that too. Well, I got a little interrupted the other day mid recording that video, so it's a new day, and I'm gonna try and continue on with it. So, all right, I think I left off at Mr. Mercedes, is where I was last at. I also read Feed by Mira Grant, and this is a whole series. This is the first one in the series, and it was really good. It was kind of a unique take on a zombie apocalypse type thing, and there was some typical stuff that you'd see in a zombie book, but there was a lot of unique stuff that you wouldn't see normally. And the idea is that they're like, she's a reporter, or does these blogs and news feeds and things like that, and so they're kind of keeping up this I don't know, image of reporting on different events that are going on and things like that, and then they're trying to reach higher rankings amongst other news people and stuff like that. So there's more like a side storyline that doesn't really have to do with zombies. So, but it was really good, and I think, I don't remember what the next one is, but I have all the rest of them. I'm gonna try and read through them at some point. So Feed, I'd recommend. It was fun. Severance by Ling Ma. I don't know why this one popped up on my radar at some point. Someone talked about it somewhere, and I just don't remember, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was pretty boring, kind of oddly, like the characters were odd and not very likable. So, but it was okay. It definitely was not my favorite. All right, new stack, I think. All right, so I'll grab all 3 right now. I read 3 of the Firefly series. I think Magnificent 9 was first, then Ghost Machine, and then Life Signs, I think, is the order that they go in. So I read them in that order. I think I have 2 left, and there's one coming out at the end of the year. So I'm kind of bummed that these are, I'm going to run out of Firefly books to read here pretty soon. They're so good. If you like Firefly, you'll love the books. They're so good. it's like having a brand new episode that you never got to watch before. So very highly recommend those. Oh, I read one more of those. It's back here, sorry. I thought there was one more. Here it is, right here. Carnival I also read. This was the most recent one. And they're all super enjoyable. So, I also read from Kristopher Triana, They All Die Screaming. This was the most extreme one from him that I have read. There was quite a bit, and this one is signed also. There is quite a bit of graphic content in this one. Some pretty intense stuff. It is good. It's an enjoyable book. It is definitely on the more extreme side than like A Cold Place for Dying or something like that. So if you're squeamish, then cuidado. Be careful. One of my favorite Richard Mathesons I've read so far. This is a short story collection, and it is Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. Every single story in this is good. Man, Richard Matheson just had a way with creating a scenario, even in a short amount of time, and it's super enjoyable. Nightmare at 20,000 Feet. I don't know if there was like, I remember something like, what's his name that played Captain Kirk? I can't remember his name right now. I remember him saying something like, "There's something on the wing," you know, one of those kind of things. And I think that's from this first short story. I don't know if it was a Star Trek episode or if it was like a movie that was based on this, but I remember that way back in the recesses of my brain. What is his name? Why can't I think of his name? He does the commercials for the hotel place, whatever it is. I can't place it. He writes all the tech series for the books, Tech Money and Tech This, Tech that. William Shatner. There it is. Got it. All right. Okay. So, anyways, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet short story collection by Matheson is really good. I also read The Lost by Jack Ketchum. First Jack Ketchum book that I read, and it was good. It was not like a horror story. At the end, it started ramping up some more graphic stuff, but it was more just like a kind of a character study of a different group of people. So, but it was enjoyable, and I've heard Ketchum's kind of hit or miss, and so to me that was good. Do I want to go back and reread it or something? Not really. Would I recommend it? Yeah, sure. All right, let's grab another stack off the shelf here. I'm probably going from earliest to past here. Oh, there's another Firefly book I read in there. All right. I read Blackmouth by Malfi. I think I read this back in January. I think these were January books, maybe February. And I'm kind of having a hard time remembering what it was about right now. Let me see. Let me try and read. I honestly don't remember. I remember enjoying it, but it wasn't great to me. It was like, okay. I liked this one better, actually, by Malfi, The Ascent. Story about mountain climbers and going to find a specific spot on the mountain that nobody's ever been to before, and all this different stuff, and just craziness that happens on a mountain climbing adventure. That one was enjoyable. The other one, I don't really remember Blackmouth all that much. Zoe's Tale by Scalzi. I love Scalzi. This is set in the Old Man's World, or Old Man's War universe or series. This is basically a retelling of the one right before it, which was Last Colony or something. I don't know where my Scalzi books are. Let me see if I can see it in here. it's Last Colony. Yeah, okay, Last Colony. So Last Colony, you hear about Zoe and you get some information about her, but this one's told basically the same story from her perspective, which I think, which I think is kind of similar to what Orson Scott Card did with Ender's Shadow. So, House on the Borderland, William Hope Hodgson. This was a weird read, but it was cool. There were some parts in this where I was like, whoa, that was really good. And then other parts where I was like, what is going on? I don't know what's happening. And it just didn't make a lot of sense. But it was a fun read. There's kind of toward a part in the middle that if you read that, you'll know what I'm talking about. I read also Aliens, the second in the Alien series by Alan Dean Foster. This is just the book tie-in to the movie. As I've said before, when reading these, they're super fun. They give you a little insight into the characters, their minds, their thought processes, their fears, their whatever. You get to hear more about what's going on in their heads, which is cool. I love this book, Sons of Anarchy, Bratva. If you can't tell, I love Sons of Anarchy. I have the figures all back here, and books and graphic novels and all that stuff. So this takes place in between seasons 4 and 5, I believe, and it's just kind of tied right into the series, and it added a lot to it and made it super fun, really enjoyable. You know the characters already. It's just a good read. Obviously, I like TV to movie adaptations or whatever, all that stuff. So I also read the 5th in the Dark Tower series, The Wolves of Kaya. And this one was different. I didn't expect it to be the way it was. Like, I don't know, something it was kind of like just an adventure that takes place on their way to the Dark Tower, and you learn a little bit more about certain people, and it was just I don't know, it was a good one. I enjoyed it. There's lots of cool inside this one, lots of cool illustrations, so that is, I mean, I love the graphic novels of these and all that too, so it's just beautifully done. And there's quite a bit in here. Probably every, I don't know, 30-40 pages or something like that. So you learn a lot about Susanna, and I'm getting ready to read Song of Susanna, which is the next one, and so that's gonna be cool. Grab some more stacks. Gosh, some of these I'm like, I read that this year. Jeez, that feels like eons ago. Okay, I also read, by Stephen King, The Stand, the complete and uncut edition, finally. So I had this one, which is a first edition, and I don't have the cover for it, but it's a first edition from, whatever, 1978, I think, I believe. But this one is the cut version, and so I read like a little bit into it. Like, I think, yeah, here, I only got like 12 pages in. There's my bookmark. I got like 12 pages in. I was like, wait, is this the complete one, or is this the cut up one? And so I went and I double checked it, and I realized, oh man, this is the one that's cut. So I went and grabbed a copy off my shelf to read with the the full complete version. So The Stand, it's really good, very good. I thought for sure it was gonna blow past It as my favorite, and it did not. I still have It as my favorite. Stand is really good. It's definitely top 5 Stephen King. I think the longer it sits with me, the more it'll be, placed at the top. I also saw the miniseries, like the 80s miniseries, like 50 times when I was younger. So I had all the characters like already pictured, like Gary Sinise, you know, that like I'm seeing Gary Sinise as I'm reading. So I kind of, I don't know, it helped, but I also knew like really a lot of what was going on. So it wasn't like surprising or anything. So, but it was obviously very, 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 very enjoyable. And, but it's just, I don't know, man. It is just top tier for me. It's just up there. It is it. It is it. I also read by Stephen King, Carrie, finally. And this one's good. It's enjoyable. It's I'm obviously seen the movie. It's one of the things about Stephen King is like everything he's done's been made into a movie. I actually bought this one. I think I forget where I got this one, but I had only had like one of the like newer printed. I don't think I have one laying around. Like the new printed one with like the colorful face on the cover, and so I kind of wanted to have a nice original copy, and so I went ahead and picked that one up and then decided to read it. So Generations, here's another one of the Firefly ones. This one I think actually is the first, then Ghost Machine, then Life Signs, then Magnificent Nine, this one I think, Ghost Machine, Life Signs, and then Carnival. I think that's how it went. And then there's two more. There's Coup de Grace and something else, and then there's a new one that'll be released I think end of year or something like that. So super exciting. I'm a big fat nerd. All right, I also by Kristopher Triana read Gone to See the Riverman, and this one was good. I don't know what all the massive hype was about because it wasn't like insanely good. It was just good. And this thing got hyped so much. It's unreal. I liked Ex Boogeyman way better than this one. But it was, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't like, I'm not sure why it was so hyped up. And maybe because it was so hyped up by everybody on BookTube that, I was just kind of expecting something else. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, it was good, but just didn't live up to that hype. On Wings of a Song by Thomas Disch. I love Thomas Disch, but this book was weird. It's really weird. Has to do with like trying to, like, people can fly and leave their bodies. I think I talked about this on another video. They fly and they leave their bodies, and there's like, but their body's still there, but they're actually living their life outside of their body, like enjoying and free from everything. And I'm sure there's some underlying meanings behind it, but the main character is like learning how to live, can't fly, trying to figure all this stuff out, trying to find a job, do all this stuff. And it's all about him and his life rather than the idea of flying. And there's just some strange stuff in this one that I was like, love you, Dish, but nah, wasn't for me. Outpost by W. Michael Gear. I have this whole series. It's the Donovan series. Is that what it's called? Donovan series? I think it's called the Donovan series. Yeah, Donovan book 1. So this is the first one in the series. It's like an alien planet where people live and farm and do all kinds of stuff. And there's like a base that they're in, and there's these creatures that are outside the base, and plant life and environment, and the world around them is very dangerous. And they're trying to survive, and a group of people show up and all this kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. It's a very elaborate story for a simple like kind of premise. And so I don't know, it was good. I'm not super pumped to read the rest of them, so I will, but I will probably like space them out just because I'm not like, there's other things I'm more excited to read. So I also read one of my least favorite books ever, by John Scalzi, surprisingly, because I love Scalzi, and there's nothing I've read by Scalzi that I didn't enjoy. This is his take on a fantasy book, and it was terrible. It was horrible. I did not like it at all. The cover is really cool. The book's fairly short, so it's not it wasn't too big a deal. I mean, it's only 135 pages with, fat print on them. So it was a quick read. It was just a doo-doo. I did not like it. So I wouldn't recommend that one. Even if you're a fantasy reader, I probably wouldn't recommend that one because it was just not that good. All right. Put some of these away and grab the rest up top. All right. Most recently, actually, I just finished the first part of Devil's Day. So the day of Black Easter, excuse me. So in this, there's 2 different books. So Black Easter is one, and then Day After, well, whatever, it's right there. Day After Judgment is the next one. And so I have both of those in the Avon print, but I didn't want to mess with those books at all because they're kind of expensive and they're nice and all that. So, but I did read the first one at least, and I'm on the way to starting the next one here pretty soon. I have a couple other books I want to finish first, but then Day After Judgment will be next. And Black Easter was okay. It was kind of tedious. The book is kind of boring to me, the first part, so, but I'm definitely going to finish and read Day After Judgment. I don't want to spoil the whole point of the book, but there's like a singular point of the book, and it kind of, I guess, near the end tells you. And yeah, it's just all right. Blockade Billy. This also has a short story at the end called Morality. And I think this is probably like a short that was in some collection. I don't know, but I had this little, hardcover copy of it. So, and I didn't remember how many Stephen Kings I read this year, and I wanted to make sure I'm keeping up and at least getting one a month kind of thing. So I grabbed a little short one. And it's about a story about this catcher who rises to stardom, playing baseball, and he's got something going on with him that helps him to do that. And it's a fun little story. Morality's pretty cool. This lady works for this guy who is kind of like a priest or something like that, where he's not, he kind of says, I've never really done anything bad. I'm not really, I haven't done anything like really wicked in my life, and I kind of want to do something wicked before I die. And which is a kind of a stupid idea, but it's still, the question is posed, like, will you act out something wicked for me on my behalf and film it so that I can, vicariously live my wickedness through you? And so it's kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of an interesting story where the girl, has this dilemma of shouldn't she do it? So, but good little short. I reread Walking Dead: Rise of the Governor because I want to read the rest of them, and I read this one probably oh gosh, it's probably been, I don't know, when did this come out? I think I got it when it came out. So when was this released? Let's see. It was released originally in 2004, so it's been about 20 years. That's insane. No way. Oh no, 2011. Oh my gosh, I was like, what? Oh, there's a copyright for something else in here. 2004. Okay. 2011, that's a little better. 13. I was going to say sometime between 10 and 15 years ago. So 13 years ago. Okay. So I read it about 13 years ago. This one's always stuck with me. I really enjoyed it. I don't know why. At the time, Walking Dead was kind of at its peak. And so I love zombies. I love Walking Dead. I love all that stuff. I would love someday to write like a zombie novel or something, just cause I want to. I know it wouldn't be good, and it's not gonna, no purpose to it other than just cause I want to. But I liked Rise of the Governor, and I also have all the rest of them, so I want to read those as well. I read another Scalzi, Starter Villain, and this one's just kind of a fun, cool book. It's enjoyable. It's you know, it's typical Scalzi with good humor and lots of laughs, and it has to do with, like, you know, actual villains and having secret layers and things like that. It's really cool. I read the second in the what does this have, a series, Awakened series. So there's 3 of them. The first one I read, I guess I read it last year. Yeah, I read it last year. And so I read the second one. I also read the third one. So the complete series by James Murray and Darren Weirmouth. James Murray's the guy, Murr, from Practical Jokers, if you've ever seen that TV show. They have a few other books as well, and I guess he wrote the first book just on his own, and like then tried to get it published and things like that, and nobody wanted it, and eventually someone took it and said this is really good, and he brought in Darren to kind of edit, help do other things, and then they wrote the last 2, kind of co-wrote them together. So but it's super good. Alien invasion type deal, how to save people, how to save cities, how to save the planet kind of stuff. And it's just an all-around enjoyable story, the kind of alien sci-fi horror story all in one. So I really like those ones. Highly recommend those ones. I also read Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 finally. I kind of figured I wasn't going to like it, and I didn't. It was boring. And I get that it has some, you know, background and speaking out against systems and things like that, and I just don't really, it was just okay. I wasn't in love with it, that's for sure. I read through, finally, all the way through Paperbacks from Hell. I'd kind of skimmed in bits and pieces before, but I actually sat down and just went through the whole thing finally. I wanted to see, you know, all the info about all the photos that were in here, all the history of Paperbacks from Hell. It was really cool to hear about all the different authors and how they influence certain types of the genre and things like that. Very, very detailed, you know, it's almost like a documentary or whatever of how gothic paperbacks, horror paperbacks, all that came to be in their popularity. So I also read this Cult Horror Gothic Dreams. It's like a coffee table type book for dark fantasy, horror, and supernatural movies, and it goes through and details almost the same stuff for movies like Paperbacks from Hell did. So I read that one and I was like, I want to learn about movies now. So I went and read that one right after. I am a dork. I know, I'm a dork. I love it. Okay, Alien 3. I also read Alan Dean Foster, the movie novelization of 3, and this one was really good too. It basically follows exactly what goes on in the movie, and I think this movie was my least favorite of the Alien series, like the original Alien series, if I remember right. I think I liked Resurrection better than this one. I kind of get them confused sometimes. I don't know why, but this is the one where they're on there's a planet that's got like a prison colony on the planet, and it's all guys, I guess, and they have some weird like religious thing where they're like, you know, we take a vow to live in peace on the planet and stuff like that. I don't know. It was good. It was enjoyable. Probably one of the best books I read so far this year, Psycho by Robert Bloch. As of right now, this is in top 10 for the year, so for sure. I really, really enjoyed this book. So it's got the cool peekaboo cover on it. Even though I knew what was going on in the book and what was going to happen, I was still like super into it. I was still like really enjoyable. It moves like at a pace that's like perfect, and it just there's no fluff in here, really. There's no unnecessary garbage in this book to me. It was just cover to cover exactly like how a book should be. So I really enjoyed that one. I also read The Shining from Stephen King. I kind of went on a little first, early Stephen King kick. And I've already read Salem's Lot, so I don't know what's next after these ones, but Carrie, Salem's probably Firestarter or something like that. Anyways, Shining. It was good. It was good. It was good. I liked Shining. I think if I had to rate Carrie, Shining, and Salem's Lot, I'd probably put Shining. Shining's first, and then maybe Salem's Lot, and then Carrie. I think. I don't know. Because I never really liked Carrie the movie back in the day. I just kind of was like, eh. So I don't know. Maybe I just had a bad taste in my mouth towards it. I don't know. But Shining was really cool. I loved the idea of someone having the shine. You know, they can telepathically or whatever see things or talk to people or things like that. It's just a really cool idea and super enjoyable. All right, finally, I didn't mean to leave this one for last, but this is probably my favorite book I read this year so far, and it's Andy Weir's Hail Mary. Just like The Martian, I loved The Martian. I thought The Martian was so good. I like Andy Weir's humor. It's a lot like John Scalzi's, and so that fits me really well. Kind of sarcastic, goofy, dad jokes, that kind of stuff. I like that stuff. I'm a dad and I'm a dork, so that fits me very well. So Hail Mary was really good. It's a basically the planet is going to be destroyed by this little parasitic thing that is eating the sun and causing it to die a little bit, so the earth is going to freeze, and they're trying to figure out how to save the planet. And so I'll leave it at that. It's, if you like The Martian and his writing, I think you'll love this one. So I heard the other one's not that as good. Artemis, I think it's called. I heard Artemis isn't as good, but this one and Martian, top tier for me for sure. So I think that's everything I've read so far this year. Yeah, I am currently reading Shrinking Man. I'm still trying to finish doing the audiobook, so there's a playlist for these. The Shrinking Man, I think I have like 4 more chapters to go, and I will try to add more here shortly. So I'm just reading through it as an audiobook on YouTube. I am currently reading Gwendy's Button Box, and I'm almost done with that one. It's really enjoyable. I got about, I don't know, a third of the way through Necroscope, and I'm gonna pause it for a while. It's boring, really boring to me, and it's a big old thick boy. So I don't know, I may pick it up another time. So I'm also partway through Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and so far it's just kind of okay. I hope it picks up a little bit, because I mean, everybody just seems to love this book, and right now it's just kind of like, all right, I don't get what the hype's about yet, but I'm hoping that it picks up and I get the hype. And I was just starting Drowned World also by G Ballard. So those are my current I have The Businessman started by Disch. It's in my room. So I have a few that I'm kind of in the middle of here. So I won't get to Black Easter or Day After Judgment till I finish a couple of those at least, just because I feel like I have too many right now spread out. Like, I don't mind having 4 or 5, but if that's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think. So I'm kind of like, I need to rein it in, finish a couple first before I add any more in there. So anyways, I think that's it. I will catch you on the next one.